In a 162-game season, a playoff hopeful team will need everyone on the roster to contribute, and that is what is happening in Oakland. Yesterday, in a game for the ages, two of the most unlikely players led the A's to a memorable victory. Seldom used reliever Jesse Chavez struck out a career-high 7 in a dominating 5+ innings to earn the win. Well, Rule 5 rookie selection Nate Fryman produced an 8th-inning walk-off single against the greatest reliever in Major League history. The AL West leading A's, winners of 11 straight at home, will look to continue their winning ways as Tommy Milone takes the hill against the Seattle Mariners. Game 1 of the 3-game series is coming up next. Friday Night Baseball coming to you from the O.co Coliseum, a special night. It is Superhero Night at the ballpark. Fireworks coming up after the game, so Josh Reddick is happy. Right. He's got a little superhero in him. And speaking of heroes, that's the guy from yesterday's 18-inning win, Nate Fryman. So it's the first of 3 from the Coliseum. It's the Seattle Mariners and the Oakland A's coming up on Comcast Sportsnet California. Hey again, everybody. Welcome to Oakland A's Baseball. Along with Ray Fosse, I'm Glenn Kuiper. Well, we got our energy back after working 18 innings. Really wasn't that bad, was it? No. Nah, no problem. I tell you what, though, you play 18 innings and you hold the opposition to just 2 runs, Ray. There's going to be a lot of pitching heroes, so let's give the A's bullpen their due.
Well, you can start with Jared Parker going 8 innings, which helped the bullpen because once they came in, it was all bullpen for a lot of innings. Starting with the closer, Graham Balfour did a great job and then needed to go a little bit longer. How about with Ryan Cook? Jerry Blevins followed him. Pat Neshek, what a great breaking ball to finish off the inning. I love the pump of the fist of these guys when they come off the mound, but nobody better than Jesse Chavez, who came in, retired the final 13, but the couple of strikeouts he came in with runners at first and second. What a remarkable job he did. For Mark Teixeira to say this kid was nasty, that says a lot about what he did yesterday.
Lots of hitting heroes as well, especially Nate Fryman. He got the game-winning hit against Mariano Rivera, and boy, the young man continues to produce. And I thought the great thing yesterday, of course, it's Rivera, but against a right-handed pitcher.
Absolutely. He's been playing a little bit better, but he's gotten some hits against the lefties. His first major league against Joe Saunders, who's pitching tonight. You know, he shows a lot of enthusiasm no matter when he plays or what he does. But he got a couple hits off CC Sabathia, the lefty in New York, but just keeps swinging the bat, playing very excited baseball. But what he did yesterday, I think you'll always remember. He grew up watching Mariano Rivera. He said he did not like the Yankees as a Red Sox fan, but one guy he always liked, matter of fact 2, Derek Jeter and the great one, Mariano Rivera. So for him to get the game-winning hit against the best yesterday, something he'll always remember.
And he is in the lineup tonight, hitting 5th and playing first base. So this is the 3rd series of the year between these two AL West teams. It's the Mariners and the Athletics coming up from the Coliseum. We'll have lineups and first pitch when we come back.
Comcast Sportsnet California is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Now's your chance to go big at Jack in the Box. Try Jack's Big Stack Burger. 2 jumbo beef patties stacked with onion rings, cheese, and pickles.
A's take the field. They are set to go by hosting the Seattle Mariners tonight. First of a 3-game series. So A's head back into the AL's Western Division. Game time weather presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Get to the beach. The admission-free boardwalk is now open daily. Beautiful night, 69 degrees, not a cloud in the sky, hot day, and fireworks coming up after the game. So it should be a very nice crowd tonight. They are still filing in. Some tailgaters hanging out in the parking lot. They'll be in soon, so be a nice crowd. Here's the Mariners starting lineup for tonight. Jason Bay is in right field. Nick Franklin, one of the big prospects for the Mariners. He's at second base. Kyle Seager at third. Kendrys Morales, the DH. Mike Morse at first. Ibanez in left. Mike Zunino, another big prospect, is up. He's the catcher. Michael Saunders in center. And Brendan Ryan is the shortstop.
Tommy Milone making his third start against the Mariners this season. The first one, of course, his first of this 2013 campaign. Picked up the win here in Oakland. His first win, but then lost up in Seattle, win in the first inning. Kendrys Morales hit a 3-run home run, but he's won his last 3 decisions. And Tommy Milone, of course, one of the best on the A's staff, one of the left-handed pitchers, the starters that can go deep in the contest.
First pitch to Jason Bay is foul back.
First pitch, 7:07.
So 7:07 first pitch. Jason Bay, probably not the first guy that you would think would be leading off for the Seattle Mariners, but
he swung at the first pitch. That says a lot.
And he rips this one down the left field line. Smith cuts it off. Bay with a big turn. He'll stop there. So the ball game starts with a Jason Bay base hit to left. Here's the defense for the Athletics tonight. You saw Smith in left. Young is in center. Reddick is in right. Rosales at third. Lowry at short. Sogard at second. Fryman at first. And Norris is the catcher. Josh Donaldson getting the night off. There's your umpires. Bill Welke will call balls and strikes. And Fieldon Culbreth is your crew chief, and he's at second base.
Change up to Jason Bay, the leadoff hitter, for a base hit over the third baseman's head.
So here is a young man by the name of Nick Franklin. And we've seen his name on the top of the Mariners prospect list for the last couple of years. He's a switch hitter, middle infielder, playing second base. We'll talk about all the changes the Mariners have made the last 3-4 weeks.
They have made some changes.
They have.
Since the A's last saw them.
And one of them is to bring up Nick Franklin, who they're very high on.
And of course replaces Dustin Ackley, who I think we're all shocked that he did not continue to play as well as he did in his rookie season. Kyle Seager has continued his strong campaign in the big leagues regardless of when he plays.
Franklin takes a slider for a strike. Of course, Ackley sent down. Montero sent down. Brandon Maurer, who pitched a couple times against the A's this year, he's been sent to the minor leagues. Lucas Lidke, a left-handed reliever who A's saw earlier in this year, he's in the minor leagues.
Eric Wedge is still here, the manager of the Mariners. Carl Willis is pitching coach. Robbie Thompson, your good friend.
Franklin rolls it foul. First major league hit for Nick Franklin. He has not been up a long time. In fact, this is just his 17th game. And back on the 29th of May, first major league hit. Throw the other baseball into the stands. He's not the first one to do that.
Felix knows better. He's got a perfecto, and you know he got the game ball in that one.
Just a bit outside. Justin Smoke is on the disabled list. Franklin Gutierrez still on the disabled list.
I understand Montero went to the minor leagues and hurt his knee.
Yeah, he's out for a while. So those are all names that we've seen the first 2 series that these teams have played, but they are not around this time. That one bounced over the mound right towards Sogard, who steps on second, throws to first, and that's a double play.
That's the way things are going for the A's, and you got to keep enjoying every second of it. Sogard playing him perfectly, just a couple of steps to his right over the bag, takes his time, steps on the bag, and that quickly, after a leadoff single, a 4-3 double play. But, you know, also thinking about what Seth Smith did to get to the ball quickly on Bae, holding him to a single, keeping the double play in order. Well, then a lot of times down the left field line, it's going to be a double, but Smitty got to it quick.
2 outs for Kyle Seager.
And catch that pitch. Remember in Seattle, Kyle Seager in the game that Tommy pitched 4 pitches in a row to that same location. Ball 1, 2, 3, 4 walked him. Kendrys Morales hit the 3-run home run. So it's nice to see this first one tonight. Called a strike by Milwaukee. Tommy needs the outside corner of the plate to both righties and lefties.
.285 the average for Seager. 8 home runs, 30 RBI, so he's having a nice season after having a good season last year as well. So he is entrenched as third baseman for the Seattle Mariners.
And when your club is down 5-1 with the 14th inning, and Addison Reed, the closer for the White Sox, is on the mound, you get a grand slam to tie it. It's pretty special. It's going to keep you in the game a long time.
3-1 pitch is a strike outside corner.
Well, the man behind the plate catching the ball, the guy who caught 18 innings yesterday, Derek Norris. As we talked yesterday, he's got the game and yesterday. And oh, by the way, Joe Saunders, a lefty's on the mound tonight for the Mariners, so I figure he's going to be in there and loving every minute of it. The Iron Man, one of them for the Athletics.
And the 3-2 pitch is a bit low, and Seager has a 2-out walk.
From a changeup, and that on one hand that's good because he threw the changeup to the lefty, but also on 3-2, actually a pretty good hitter, pretty disciplined, that he would not swing thinking that it's going to be a fastball the way.
Kendrys Morales.
So here's Kendrys Morales. Some of the walk totals for Tommy Milone, and you're right. He just doesn't walk guys. That's the 17th walk. First pitch strike. Morales, the DH, hitting in the cleanup spot. .292, 8 homers, 35 RBIs. He is a switch hitter. This year, Morales has been a much better hitter from the right side. .349 as a right-handed hitter, .263 as a left-handed hitter. Just underway from the Coliseum on a beautiful night for baseball.
I mentioned in Seattle for Tommy Milone, May 12th, when Kendrys Morales, after a walk to Seager at first pitch, and gone. And that was the difference in the game. Lost 6-1, but a 3-spot in the first inning. Got off the wrong foot, especially with some close pitches that weren't called.
That one line foul into the seats.
Young man must have known Cespedes is back in the lineup tonight. Decided to wear his jersey for the giveaway. That's good.
So 1-2 the count to Morales. Swing and a miss on a changeup, and that's how the top of the first comes to an end. So a hit, a walk, strikeout for Milone. And here comes Joe Saunders. pictures that are out in left field, well, they got the superhero glasses on, and that includes my partner's picture, which we will show you soon. Here's the lineup for the Athletics: Young, Smith, Lowry, Cespedes, Fryman, Norris, Reddick, Rosales, Sogar. Rosales playing third base.
And it's Safeco Joe pitching at the Coliseum. Safeco Joe pitched very well against the A's, and that was on Mother's Day, the May 12th, that Tommy Malone and he hooked up. And Joe Saunders pitched well, 6 in the third innings, but really does not have overpowering things, overpowering pitches, but he knows how to pitch. He's changed his speeds very effectively, and the Mariners got him to put in the rotation, and really the top three aren't that bad with King, Felix, Iwakuma, and Joe Saunders.
Let's take a look at the defense. Ibanez, Saunders, Bay in the outfield. Seager, Ryan, Franklin, Morse on the infield. And Mike Zunino, the rookie catcher, behind the plate.
You know, we should not forget also Jeremy Bonderman and Aaron Harang complete the rotation of the Mariners. Big Aaron continuing to pitch well.
Right, that's part of those changes we were talking about. And the Mariners just signed Henry Blanco.
That's right. And he's catching it. His backup catcher. Yeah.
Kelly Shopick was let go, and Henry Blanco signed, so he's here. There's a shot left center field, and that's a hit. Ibanez cuts it off, spins around, and gets it back in. And Young has a leadoff single.
Well, first pitch fastball inside, and then a pitch away, and it was up. And Chris Young liked all that he saw. And in the left center, Ibanez, the veteran, got to the ball. But nice swing by Chris Young to start this game in the leadoff spot tonight, center field.
Exmo is brought to you by Cache Creek Casino Resort. So Saunders immediately into the stretch to face Seth Smith with Lowry in the on-deck circle. Pitch outside corner, call to strike. Smith hitting .273, 5 homers, 25 RBIs.
All right, see if they recognize the 500th hit for Seth Smith when he gets it. You know, with Josh Donaldson injured as well as Coco Crisp not in the lineup tonight, Cespedes at DH. Kind of creates a little bit of a different lineup for Bob Melvin against the lefty, because he actually has 3 lefties, true lefties in the lineup: Smith, Reddick, and Sogar.
Another slider. That one stays outside.
I always believe, though, that sometimes when a lefty is facing a left-handed hitter, it just is different because they're facing mostly righties instead of an occasional left-hander.
That one bounced towards second. This could be 2, and it will be 2. 4-6-3 on the Mariners double play. Well, we mentioned Josh Donaldson not in the lineup tonight. This was his final at bat, and he was just moving kind of slow. And the reports that I read today, Ray, was that he had a knot in his hamstring, and it was bothering him a little bit
in the field.
In the field,
yeah. He said it affected him more in the field, and then when he hit, he just had to shut it down. And you know, when you play an extra inning game, you're over 5.5 hours. Guys get dehydrated.
Sure,
I mean, it's really important to hydrate as much as possible, and you wouldn't think as much here in this climate versus where the A's are going next week to Arlington, Texas, where it's extremely hot. Yeah. But the hydration is.
But it was
important.
a day game too, right? I mean, that could take it. That could be part of the deal.
Yeah.
And it was warm yesterday.
Well, I think what John Jaso said, if you think about it, and he said during the game, you think about, what was my last meal? 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, and you're playing at 6:30 at night. And sure, you might have a snack or two, but you get wrapped up in the game. And Jason was a DH, and you know, it's just you're concentrating on playing.
Toward right center, Bay a long run, and he makes a nice running catch. Side retired. So both teams get leadoff singles in the first. 2-0 with it. We're scoreless after 1.
Holiday Series, July 2nd through the 4th. The July 3rd game features a post-game patriotic fireworks show. And on the 4th of July afternoon game, 10,000 fans will receive a green checkered picnic blanket courtesy of Comerica Bank. For more information and tickets, go to oaklandathletics.com/tickets. And Cap, I wonder if it's green checkered instead of red, white, blue checkered because the Oakland A's.
That's a good question. That's a very fair question, I think.
But green checkered, you'd have to figure it's an Oakland A's theme, so why not?
That one's ripped toward right center field, and nobody's going to get it. Michael Morse is going to have extra bases. And Morse not moving terribly well, and he ends up with a double. He likes it here.
He's got a hamstring issue also, and trying to score from first base on a double, and felt it going around third. But yes, he loves the Coliseum. He had a tremendous series at the beginning of the season and jumps on a first pitch from Tommy Milone.
A leadoff double, and Raul Ibanez steps in. Speaking of series, as we mentioned, Morris dragging that leg a little bit, but he can still hit. But this is the third series of the year between these two teams. Remember, they opened with a 4-game set right here at the Coliseum. Open season, and the two teams split. The Mariners won the first 2 games. The A's won the last 2. And then Seattle at Safeco Field took 2 out of 3 from the A's. So the Mariners have actually won 4 of the 7 games played so far this year.
Remember the series in Seattle following New York and Cleveland. Cleveland the sweep. And that wasn't any fun.
Yeah, it was not when the A's were playing their best baseball, sir.
And neither was this hitter, Raul Ibanez. When we got into Seattle, there's a big article about his struggles a little bit, but how he was.
And Ibanez beat it. Fryman went a long ways to his right, and then he kind of floated the throw, and Milone made the play, but it seemed like that ball was never going to come down into Malone's glove.
Well, and look where Sogard is playing, and Fryman, the ball is right to where Sogard was playing, and you're right, it's a bang-bang play. A little bit tougher for the pitcher to get over, especially with the throw from a first baseman. Tommy had to reach up. It was a lot closer than maybe Adrian Johnson thought. Good hustle by Ibanez.
Very close.
It was almost a tie with Ibanez hitting the top of the bag. But boy, you have to know and just know where the second baseman Fryman was talking to Sogard about where his positioning, and Eric was right there to be able to handle. All Ibanez was trying to do was to advance the runner, and he did it.
So first and third, nobody out. Exmo will tell us.
You know, they say the tie can go to whoever the umpire wants it to go to.
That may have been a tie.
That's exactly right.
This is the young catcher Mike Zunino playing in just his 2nd major league game. So a lot of hype around this young man. He was the 3rd overall pick in last year's draft. How about that? He played in 44 minor league games last year. Those are his AAA numbers from this year. So very little time in the minor leagues. And a very high draft pick. Bounce toward short. A's get 1, and the throw to first dugout by Fryman. It's a double play. Coming in to score is Michael Morse. So the Mariners get a run. The A's get 2 outs. And it's 1-0 Seattle.
Well, you can look at it this way. If Tommy Milone does a great job inducing the double play, as Zunino tried to pull the outside off-speed pitch, but you know, if they do get Ibanez at first, the runners at third, the infield's probably going to play back, and that run's going to score anyway. But this case, it's a double play. Nice scoop at first by the tall one, and the A's at least get the double play, but do give up the run.
So here's Michael Saunders. The bases are empty. Strike to Saunders. Give you good news from Arlington again. The Toronto Blue Jays shut out the Texas Rangers 8-0. That game just went final. How about that?
3-1 last night. So in back-to-back games, the total of just 1 run that the Rangers have scored.
So the Rangers have now lost 4 in a row and 8 out of their last 10. That coupled with the A's great play. That's why the A's now, with that loss, have a 2.5 game lead in the AL West. So on the ground, right to Sogard. Side retired. A run on 2 hits for the Mariners. Bottom of the second, coming up 1-0 Seattle. Is brought to you by GoPro, the world's most versatile camera. GoPro, be a hero. 1-0, the Mariners lead. It's the bottom of the second inning. Smith to hit into a 4-6-3 double play. First pitch strike to Yoenis.
The 9th pitch first inning for Joe Saunders, and not wanting to give it in a nice groove. He only pitches well in Seattle. One thing Carl Willis' pitching coach said, he's looked at numbers for the shutdown innings, but Carl said in spring training he seemed to pitch better on the road. Not at their home park, but definitely what he did in Seattle against the A's was phenomenal. And his numbers pitching in Seattle were great. That's why the Mariners signed him.
Well, it's been that way this year as well. He's 4-2 at home. Very good ERA, 2.5. His ERA on the road is a little bit of a different story this year. It's hard to imagine that much difference between a home ERA and a road ERA. Road ERA of 9. How do you figure that?
I mean, you can't.
I don't think you can either.
No, it's hard to imagine.
2 pitches inside, 3-2. But he has had success against the Athletics in his career with a 14-6 record. This is his 24th career start, and of course a lot of years with the Angels, so he faced the A's quite a bit.
I was shocked when he was traded from the Angels to the Diamondbacks. Yeah. He was so good with the Angels.
Hit hard right to the first baseman Morse, who trots to the bag. Cespedes is retired. That gets us to our true story, brought to you by McDonald's. Nate Fryman with the bases loaded in the 18th inning faces Mariano Rivera. It's a broken bat single. First walk-off hit his major league career. Well, that's how it ended.
Well, you see what happens to the jersey. And of course, he did our interview without his jersey. He's so excited today. Of course, excited to get the double pie from Josh Reddick, which that was expected. but he said his jersey was just mangled, torn off his body. And he said, I got to keep it. They gave it to him. He got the bat, and it was not in his locker when he got upstairs, but it was taken by the authenticator and authenticated with MLB. And so he has the bat, but it's authenticated. He got the ball. So it was a good day for Nate Fryman. And I thought it was class when he said, Jeter and Rivera. I didn't like the Yankees growing up, but they're two guys that I always liked and always respected. One of them is not Adrian Johnson, first base umpire. Did he go? Enough. Yesterday? No. Today? Yes.
1-2 pitch setting up inside, and they just missed inside.
I think we're seeing a nice little pattern from Joe Saunders and his catcher Zunino as far as working inside of the righties. 3 of the 9 hitters he will face tonight are lefties, with the other 6 right-handers. And I'd like to think that a lefty would pitch the righties outside, but he wants to throw the fastball hard inside and sometimes off the plate.
Payoff pitch to Fryman, and he rips one to left field. Ibanez hustling back. It's over his head, up against the wall. Fryman digging for second, and he'll make it with a slide.
.92 mile-an-hour fastball, took some inside and got a chance to extend the arms, and this was a bullet. Great swing from the 6'8", and Ibanez no chance, even with the ball coming back hard to him. Fryman thinking double all the way, able to make it in safely, as Ibanez played it perfectly off the wall, but Nate Fryman, no hesitation, getting into second. Yeah, it's just a great at bat where he got the count in his favor, and Saunders was forced to throw him a strike. Did chase inside.
First pitch to Norris is hit up the middle, and that's a base hit. Saunders charges, and they're going to hold Fryman in. The ball is kicked around. Now Fryman's going to try to score. The throw to the plate is in time, and they got him.
Wow.
But he was not coming home until there was a juggle out in center field, and then he took off.
Well, that's what Mike Geigel saw, and unfortunately, Gags may not have seen him hesitate. Saunders should not even have played it that way, but he did. And then, of course, the relay a little bit off. Zunino, a great one-handed play, and reaching back. Zunino made a great play as the catcher with a short hop to his right. You see, he'd shut it down, and then for the big 6'8" to start from a dead stop, and then tried to go around, but did not make it. That's a good play by Zunino, going back and just figuring he's going to be sliding, and just stayed with him. Fryman almost got around him.
So 2 outs for Reddick. Yeah, I think the catcher deserves a lot of credit on that play. Again, that's the hop, and it's hard to catch.
Well, he had to reach to his right to take the short hop, and then back to home plate and see where his left foot is, and then it just goes back, figuring he's going to be sliding. And of course, there you could say, well, if he just jumped over him, it'd have gotten him, but he got him on the left shoulder before the hand got to the plate. And that is an outstanding play by the young catcher.
2 to Reddick is called the ball. 1-2. Reddick 187 with 2 homers, 18 RBIs. 1 for 7 in his career against Reddick. Or against Saunders, excuse me. Tries to hold up, and he went around. Reddick flips his bat at home plate. So a promising inning for the A's, but they do not score. We're headed to the 3rd. 1-0 Seattle.
and more will serve fans mug root beer floats for $2 each. A limited supply of signed Ryan Cook mugs will be available for $25. $15 non-autographed mugs are also available. Proceeds benefit the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. Admission is free with a game ticket. Mug root beer float day is presented by Pepsi. Ice cream is donated by Dryers.
Mariners come to bat here in the top of the third, leading 1-0.
Nice to know Shooty Babbitt's live and well, but you didn't know he'll be at the root beer float day.
Yeah. Shooty's one of the better and most well-known ice cream scoopers.
Most buffed.
Yeah.
Strong.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if the ice cream's soft or hard. Shooty can dig in and get it.
Yeah. Doesn't. He's a very strong man, Shooty Babbitt, mentally and physically. Good to have Shooty back. We haven't seen him in a while. He's in the studio for A's pregame live, A's postgame live.
Well, it's always great too when Shooty is there because the quotes. I mean, his knowledge. I mean, that what was it about the
autopsy?
The autopsy.
Yeah. Numbers are like autopsies. Nobody's going to get this one, and Brendan Ryan is going to head to second, and he's going to have a leadoff double. So, for the third inning in a row, the Seattle Mariners have their leadoff man aboard, and the second time it's a double.
Got an off-speed pitch and going opposite field, and it has to be location for Tommy Milone, and that's always the key.
Number 12, Jason Bay.
Up is the pitch, away, and Ryan is one that seems like, you look at his average, which, as we have said often, that Eric Wedge appreciates his defense, which is outstanding, but it seems to always hurt the A's offense.
There's the leadoff man, Jason Bay. So what Shooty said was, and he was talking about baseball statistics and that type of thing, he said that he was once told that numbers are like autopsies. They tell you what has already happened, but they don't tell you what's going to happen. Can't argue with that.
That is brilliant.
It's a Shootyism. I think he got it from somebody else, I believe he said, but it's a Shootyism for us.
I think it's just a marvelous statement, just something that we'll just have to always remember, maybe to jot down.
I can guarantee you I will never ever forget that. 0-2 to Jason Bay. Pitches inside. Did you get the feeling there's people at home just scrambling for a notebook, writing that down? Numbers are like autopsies. They tell you what has already happened. That is beautiful. Bay singled leading off the ball game. And he takes a breaking ball down and in.
Bay is kind of the type of hitter that will use the whole field, but more than anything, he likes to pull the ball as he did in the first inning. But Banyans, the lefty, did a great job moving Morse over to third base, got himself on. Bay will be thinking about doing the same. That's why Malone's pitching him inside.
And Bay bounces one. It's fair. Rosales straightens up, throws in time, and trying for third, and he's going to make it. Is Ryan.
Nothing could be done. Adam Rosales waited, looked him back, but Ryan just kept edging off a little bit, because when you make a throw, and Ryan, being a very good shortstop that he is, knows that it's a long throw from short or from third. And by the time Rosales looked him back, which he did a very good job, making sure, and then the strong throw, but to throw across the diamond and back across, it's very difficult to double up and get right. See how far he stayed off, just waiting, and then took off. That is a difficult out to get back across the diamond.
So one out and a runner at third. So the A's bring the infield in, and it's Nick Franklin who steps in. Franklin hit into a double play in the first inning. Franklin takes a strike on the inside corner. .174 with runners in scoring position, the average against Tommy Milone. So he's trying to bear down here with a runner at third and one out. Rolled foul, and he's ahead in the count 0-2, so he's got some room to work now.
Got him to hit into a double play. The ball over the mound his first at bat, which this same ball, of course, would score the run. But Tommy Milone has a great changeup, and that's when you try to get a strikeout. Release the ball similar to his fastball and pull the string, and that's a good one for him to try to get the strikeout with the infield in.
2 pitches high. Young and Reddick, center fielder and right fielder, pulled in a little bit as well and over toward right center. Franklin lays off, and the count is even at 2-2. So 4 hits for the Mariners, and they're threatening to score again here in the third. And this one's popped up. Reddick is under it, and Ryan is coming. The throw to the plate is right there, and he goes about a third of the way and then hustles back to third. So Ryan, wow, he was running hard, and he got about a third of the way and then stopped and went back.
Well, that's the best thing to do from the runner standpoint. To look like he's going, he can look at the throw coming from Josh Reddick, but that's the Gold Glover, and a perfect throw from Reddick, set up perfectly, and a one-hop to Derek Norris. Handcuffed him a little bit, but Ryan, I mean, that's a great dig. Great bluff coming down the line, and of course the crowd loved the strong throw from Reddick. Couldn't have hit it to a better guy. It's a big out.
So he could probably almost read it. I mean, if he can clearly see that ball is going to airmail the catcher, he's going to keep running.
Absolutely. Any throw offline.
He's got a pretty good line at the trajectory of the ball.
Notice also how he got behind the bag and then pushed off the front to get started better. A lot of guys would just push off the front of the bag, but he started behind. Looks like he's starter's block for the Trackster.
1-0 pitch is a strike on the outside corner to Kyle Seager, who walked in the first inning. Seemed like yesterday the Yankees had runners in scoring position the entire extra innings, and they could never get a run home. They just kept making the big pitches. And now it's 1-2.
I think the best part of watching the relievers yesterday get the big outs is seeing them pump their fist after getting the out, coming off the mound. I mean, that was exciting. Get the big outs for the third out, and all of them. I think Jesse Chavez has the night off. But the great thing about him, he's still here. Sometimes you see a relief pitcher pitch that many innings and still stay with the club, especially if he has options. And he was excited. Kind of indicated that he was going to stay. Okajima is the one who, the odd man out, but Chavez did a great job. 7 strikeouts, 71 pitches in 5 2/3. Retired the final 13 batters he faced.
So 2-2 to Seager. Fastball is a bit high, 3-2. Brendan Ryan is at third. He led off this inning with a double. Payoff pitch. Popped up to left field. Smith is under it, and Milone gets out of the jam. Mariners do not score. That right there, folks, is Billy McKinney, the A's #1 draft pick this year, and he is in the booth, and we're going to chat with him when we come back. 1-0 Mariners lead, bottom of the third. You see us up in the booth, and you see a young man sitting next to us. His name is Billy McKinney, and he is the A's #1 draft pick this year. Billy, congratulations on being a member of the Oakland A's. Has to be exciting.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited to come out here and play, and thank you very much.
No problem. We were watching you today. You had a chance to work out. How did it go? Were you nervous?
The first few swings I was, but then I kind of calmed down. Jonas was hitting balls 400, 500 feet. So
you're in the same group, huh?
Yes, sir.
That's not
good.
It was fun, though.
How many wooden bats have you used?
I mean, I was fortunate to play up the last 2 summers, so I played a lot of wood bat leagues and everything. But so, I mean, I'm kind of used to it now, and I've busted my fair share of wood bats for sure.
It's all right. There was 2 broken bats yesterday that won the game for the A's, so there's nothing wrong with
Against the greatest closer ever, Mariano Rivera.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. No, that's great.
Rosales, Sogard, and Young for the A's here against Joe Saunders in the bottom of the third. We're visiting with Billy McKinney, the young center fielder, #1 draft pick for the A's this year from Plano West High School in Plano, Texas. That one hit hard. Backing up is Franklin, and he makes a nice play for out #1. We'll chat with Adam Rosales. So everybody treat you all right down there?
Yeah, I mean, I felt welcomed really well, and they were really nice and good ball players, really. I actually hit with Rosales as well. He was in the group with us, and he took great BP as well.
So how did it feel to stand in a big league diamond and take batting practice? Have you ever hit on a big league field before?
I've hit it a few, but this one is just, it's way more special now that I'm a part of the organization.
Exactly. Oh, it's special, all right.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You call that, see Mount Davis up there? It's, yeah, huge.
Yes,
that's
sir.
Special. That's special.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one you never forget.
Oh.
So tell us about how you found out. Who called you? How does it work when you're sitting at home waiting for that call and you find out that you're the #1 draft pick? Take us through how it all went.
Well, actually, I was fortunate to have the opportunity to be at the draft.
So you were there.
So
okay.
I was at the draft, and they had a teleprompter actually up where the reporters were, and I saw the earlier draft picks, and you could see their names when they were going to be called a few minutes before. But I decided to stop looking at that, and I wanted to be surprised. So when they called my name, I just dropped, and it was just a dream come true to have somebody call Bud Selig call my name to be a pro ball player for the Oakland A's, definitely.
Well, you have A's great general manager Billy Beane. He's eyeballing you.
You get wearing the #1 too.
Yeah, that's what they gave me.
Man, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, you're #1, so they give you #1.
I guess so. It was in my locker, so
Were you going to go to college? I mean, or high school, which is great because you get to start young. But any college possibilities if you hadn't been drafted or if you didn't sign?
I had signed with TCU, and that's what I was looking at as a backup plan, really. And if pro ball didn't work out, I was going to go there.
But the bottom line, you want to play, right?
Yes,
play
sir.
Pro ball. I don't blame you.
Try to achieve my dream.
I don't blame you. It's a great dream. Great to have you here, and great that you're going to go out and start playing. And remember when Barry Zito signed, and he was in our booth just almost as soon as he drafted, like yourself, and he said, my goal is to get back here as quickly as possible to be on the field. And he said, that's the reason I signed as quick as I did. So it's a great attribute to you. Of course, being as a high school player, he was a college player, but still, you get a great opportunity to start, and you'll enjoy it every bit of it.
Exactly.
See, I went to Cleveland when my first one was Cleveland Municipal Stadium.
Really?
That was unbelievable. But they had great cheeseburgers.
Oh, wow.
That was the best part of signing and working out in Cleveland, to get the chance to have the cheeseburgers afterwards.
A little flare behind first, and it's just foul. That's right. You and Ray have something very good. It was just a couple years ago that Ray was a first-round draft pick.
Really?
Like 3-4 years ago.
Wow. Oh, here we go.
Here's a look at our guy.
So you lefty all the way around, huh?
Yes, sir.
That's great.
So
Well, that looks like a big league park to me right there.
that was Petco
right.
in San Diego, yes.
Now, you had 2 different numbers. What happened? 23 and 15.
23 is my number, and 15, I guess, is a backup. 23 was already taken at that game.
Oh,
so they
I
said
see.
I had
That
to use
game,
another
okay.
number, but
You're a star, though. You should have got what you wanted.
I wish. But
Yeah,
didn't work out that way.
There's
I
your
guess.
15
Oh,
right
there it
there.
is.
Yeah. Well, you've got #1, so that's even better.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
And there's a base hit and maybe more. Banez is going to let it bounce off the wall, and Chris Young is 2 for 2, a single and a double.
Swinging it well.
Now Nate Fryman and Chris Young getting the count. The 3-2 fastballs from Joe Saunders, and that's the difference in the at-bats. Work the count, get a high fastball.
So a 2-out double. See if Smith can get him home and tie up this game. So Billy, you're heading out tomorrow, right? Going to Arizona?
Yes, heading out tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
So it's time to go to work.
Exactly.
Arizona?
Exactly.
That's when you'll be working out 6 in the morning because it's 110.
Yes.
Good, you'll enjoy that.
Oh, yeah.
Now, how much baseball, how much have you been away from home, I guess, because you're just out of high school, right? And you're signing.
Yes.
And now you're going to be traveling about. Have you had an opportunity to travel and do a lot of traveling baseball? To be out and about?
I've traveled a little bit. Definitely not as much as I will be this summer.
Yeah.
But last August, I was out of town pretty much all of August, and that's probably the most time I've been away from home.
That's great.
But I'm definitely excited to go out there and play.
Yeah. No, that's great. And I think in seeing the club draft a high school player, because a lot of times they'll wait and get college to get 3 or 4 years, but they grab you early, and that's perfect to get a chance to get to the professionals. And what about spring training? Have they already told you come into camp?
Oh, I'm not sure. They have not told me. I'm still trying to learn things every day.
Well, you got to give a spring training invite, to get down with everybody, But I don't want to. If Billy's watching this, he's going to get upset that I even said that.
No. I'm just going to trust whatever they do. So
well, that's
just going to go out there and play.
You'll enjoy it.
I'm excited.
Smith rolls it over foul, and the count is 1-2 as we're chatting with Billy McKinney, the first-round draft pick for the A's here in 2013.
Now, how many times have you been asked? Rich McKinney was a major league player, played for the A's, third baseman, same name. And I know that I heard someone commenting on the radio about the similarities in the name. Obviously, no connections, I wouldn't think.
This is the first time I've heard that. I had no idea.
Really? Yeah,
wow.
Rich McKinney played for the A's, the Yankees, and called him Buckeye because he was from Ohio. He's probably driving a semi right now up and down the state of Ohio.
Yeah, my guess is if you don't know who he is, you're probably not related to him.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And you're probably better off. Not even, that's probably the best. No. But it's just, it's not a common name that you hear about. And Rich did play back in the 70s with the A's and then on to New York, the Yankees. But
yeah, it's a little bit before my time, I guess.
Yes, considerably. That's right. And that's why you're heading out as a high school graduate soon. But just getting that call, you talked about it and saw the picture of you and the commissioner, Bud Selig. But times have changed because when guys were drafted, it's to let you know, and then you sign and you go. But the experience of being there at the draft, what was that?
Oh, it was just surreal. I mean, it was tough to really collect how I actually got picked and everything happened, and that was where everything went down. Really, it's just a dream come true.
But was there any indication beforehand? Because it's kind of interesting that all the guys go to the draft.
Yeah, there's a certain number. Yeah,
that are figured,
but they pick 15 or 20 maybe.
They had 9 this year.
Oh, 9. Okay.
So
it's a lot of pressure. You go there as 1 of 9. You say, what if they don't draft me?
That's exactly what you think while you're there. Exactly, until they call your name. That's exactly.
So you stop looking at the teleprompter, huh?
Yeah, I didn't want to have it just the surprise ruined if I was going to get picked. So.
Yeah, that would be. Well, they had to be pretty confident. You're going to be 1 of 9. It's a pretty good chance you're going to be drafted. So that's good.
Yeah. Once I got the call, that was just something I strove to. That was a goal of mine to get invited, and I did, and was happy that I was. And heard the A's were a little bit interested, and they called my name.
That's great.
3-2 pitch swing and a miss, and Smith strikes out. A's do not score. Billy McKinney, good luck. We hope to see you here we'll give you 2 years, all right? You better get
Thank you very much. I'll try my best. Thank you.
So the #1 draft pick this year of the Oakland A's, Billy McKinney, and we wish him the best of luck. get final scores of your favorite team sent directly to your phone. Text Athletics to 82653 to receive A's final score alerts. CSNCalifornia.com is your interactive mobile leader for authentic Bay Area sports.
What an exciting young man.
Yeah.
He is excited.
Nice
Don't
young
blame
man.
him. Don't blame
Wish
him.
him the best of luck. 1-0, the Mariners lead. It'll be Morales, Morse, and Ibanez. And that one's ripped to center, and that's hit well. Young going back, still going back, and he is going to be able to turn around right at the wall and make the catch. Morales hit it about as far as you can without hitting it over the fence.
Cap, there's a difference of a fastball and a changeup. 80 miles per hour. He pretty much had to provide his own power, and that's just the biggest part of the diamond, the park, and Chris Young had it played perfectly. Hit the warning track, couple of steps against the wall. Kendrys Morales having to provide his own power, talking to himself about, thought he had one. Just missed it.
First pitch to Mike Morse is inside. Morse doubled and scored in the second inning.
I think it's great for a young man, a high school player, to be drafted, because that gives him a lot of times to develop as a professional. And obviously the A's think a lot about him to be able to draft him as a high school player versus letting him go to college and spend 3 or 4 years try to get him develop a little bit more.
Slid over to visit with the radio guys.
The A team, half of the A team over there. That's
Yeah, they were looking at us like, are you ever going to let us talk to this young man? I think there was a little friction between radio and TV in between innings. We'll have to make sure that everything's okay by the time the post game comes around.
maybe we'll have Billy McKinney right between us.
It's not all hunky-dory between us. This fine broadcasting team for the A's. Sometimes there's some difference of opinion. I'll take Catronio, you take Korak, all right? Three and two to Morse with the Ibanez in the on-deck circle. And it's a walk. Second walk issued by Tommy Malone. And here's Ibanez, who had an infield hit in the second inning. Angels and the Yankees are in the fourth inning down in Anaheim, with the Angels leading 1-0. Pitching matchup down there tonight. Pettit and Wilson, a couple of veteran left-handers. So Andy Pettit just got career win number 250 in his last start.
Well, Andy Pettit was talking about his 19-year-old son who is going to Baylor, and asked him how much longer he's going to play for the Yankees, and he said, I want to watch my son play. And
can't blame him.
Yeah. GCU is probably a pretty good score too, so that the A's were not able to, at least they were able to convince McMillan to sign.
High pop-up, foul territory. Rosales reaches up, makes the catch. So that is out number 2. There's the Adam Rosales superhero mask.
Check the mask flying in the wind, in the breeze. It's pretty good.
Yep, if you're up on that wall, you got to have a superhero mask. That includes you, Mr. Fawcett.
I tell you, whoever the artist is pretty good.
He is good, yeah. Would you mess with that superhero? Here's Mike Zunino, who hit into a double play, got a run home. That was in the second inning. Speaking of high draft picks, as we mentioned, first position player from that 2012 draft to get to the big leagues. Position player, the key word there.
The real key for this young man to get to the big league so quickly is, regardless of what he did as an amateur, high school, college, you know, it takes longer for a catcher to learn how to call a game, and usually it takes more time in the minor leagues for that to be accomplished. And that's the difference, catcher versus maybe another position player, even a pitcher.
Zunino, yeah, he's got all the accolades from college.
Yeah.
He went to the University of Florida. And how about last year, Ray? Golden Spikes Award, Johnny Bench Award, and the Dick Hauser Trophy winner. And Golden Spikes, of course, is the best college player. Johnny Bench Award is the best college catcher.
I'm not surprised he's in the big leagues as young as he is.
And he takes a 2-1 fastball for a strike. He's from Cape Coral, Florida.
But you know, a lot of times in high school and college, the pitches are called, not just throw overs and pitch outs, but the actual pitches. I know Max Stassi, who signed with the A's and of course traded to Houston, but he said in high school his dad let him call his own game, and that's unusual for a high school player these days to get a chance to call his own game. And even in college, you see the coaches even through the signs and calling the game.
This is his first major league hit on Wednesday. That was the first start for him, so this is just his second major league start.
That's 3 hits. Is that the same one?
Same swing. Mike Zunino. Would imagine we'll see a lot of him in the future. Three-two pitch, lying down the left field line, but it's going to hook into the seats.
You know, to be honest, Cap, I thought we'd be seeing a lot of Jesus Montero.
Yeah, that's a good call. And Ackley.
And Ackley, yeah. But that's how quickly it changes. And you know, I think just as much of the Mariners, and not surprising considering the additions they made to the club. Morse in particular, big strong right-handed hitter. Getting Saunders and Ian Kuma, and the pitching's pitching great. Expectations in the Northwest to not just try to develop, they want to win.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that the Mariners, and they still very well may be, but they thought that it would be a year of significant improvement. Last year they lost 87 games.
Now batting, number 55, Michael Saunders.
But it's been a while. Last postseason appearance for Seattle was way back in 2001, and that's when they had the season where they won 116 games. The A's won the wild card that year.
Won the wild card and 14, 15 behind.
Yeah.
That kind of a record.
First pitch to Saunders is hit foul. This year the Mariners 29 and 38 in third place, 11.5 games behind the Athletics. 11 and 21 on the road. Morris at second, Zunino at first. Foul back again, and it's 0-2. As we said, the Rangers lost their game tonight 8-0 to Toronto. Astros just beat the White Sox 2-1. That game just went final. Pitch, strike three called right there at the knee. Saunders knew it. So the Mariners strand a pair, and we're going to the bottom of the fourth inning. Lowry, Cespedes, and Fryman to hit for the A's. AT&T. Who are the 3 players in Oakland A's history with walk-off hits versus Mariano Rivera? Tweet us your answer at @CSN Athletics. The bullpen guys are our superheroes. Well, they were superheroes yesterday, no question about it. So Lowry to lead it off. Followed by Cespedes and Fryman. Lowry hit a fly ball to right field to end the first.
And the A's, at least a base runner, a hit in each of the first 3 innings. 2 in the second, but they had to feel pretty good about themselves that at least they have something going against Joe Saunders.
Bouncer, left side of the diamond. Seager has it, and that's out by 1. Some notes from the game yesterday. It took 5 hours and 35 minutes. That's the longest, the 4th longest in Oakland A's history, and it was the longest day game in Coliseum history. Second team in Major League Baseball history with 2 games of 18 or more innings in the same season. That's right, we had a 19-inning game as well. A's bullpen, 10 shutout innings. And how about the note right above that? The Yankees' 4 through 7 hitters were 0 for 28.
How about that picture to the right? Rivera walking off with his head down, and Nate Fryman, the excited one, with his hand up in the air.
It was Teixeira, Hafner, Youkilis, and Wells that went 0 for 28. Kevin Youkilis today was placed on the disabled list. Story said he woke up this morning with numbness in his right foot.
Wow.
So they figured that he was going to get his back looked at. Bay has it. Cespedes is retired, and that's out number 2 here in the 4th inning. Ford right choice for tonight. We're going to go with Jesse Chavez. He got the win, and I think he did pitch the game of his life. Came in the 13th inning. He pitched 5 2/3 innings. He struck out 7, walked 2, and he threw 71 pitches. He was terrific.
Well, that curveball, no wonder Mark Teixeira said he was nasty, his pitches. And when you throw the type of curveball that he does, a hard spinning down, that is the last guy they throw was the best guy we faced all day. Guy was nasty. Didn't do our job, but give him credit. They should. And I tell you, that was Jesse Chavez and the bullpen. Complete bullpen did a great job all afternoon and into the night.
So I read today, interesting, Jesse Chavez, 5 2/3 innings, right? So he did not quite get to 6 innings, but if he would have got to 6 innings, there would have been 4 quality starts yesterday.
Right. That's
of
right.
course, the 2 relievers did not start, so it's more of a joke than anything. But Adam Warren, their reliever, went 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs. It was a crazy day, no doubt about it.
But I still say, and we watched yesterday and talked to Sean Doolittle after the game, and Doolittle went up to Skipper and Kurt Young and kept saying, I can pitch, I can pitch. But they stayed to the word. They did not pitch him in the game. 18 in the game, he did not get in.
So it's a 3-up, 3-down inning for Joe Saunders, and we're moving to the 5th. 1-0 Seattle.
iPhone, iPad, Android, and BlackBerry 10. At-Bat delivers Oakland Athletics baseball with audio, pitch tracking, stats, news, highlights, and more. Text At-Bat to 31826 or visit OaklandAthletics.com for details.
Here come the Mariners in the top of the 5th inning. Ryan, Bay, and Franklin, 9-1 and 2. Ryan led off the 3rd inning with a double. The Mariners could not get him around to score. He was stranded at 3rd. Last time we saw the Mariners, Ray, Brendan Ryan, who was a terrific defensive shortstop, but boy, he was really struggling offensively. His average was 130. So he has started to hit the ball better. He's got it up over 200. One and one the count.
I think with some of the guys that struggled, and Ackley in particular, Central minor leagues, but the thing about Brendan Ryan that Eric Wedge has always appreciated his defense, and
yeah, he's terrific.
And it goes to show that some guys, if they don't play well, or they don't swing the bat well offensively, then the defense really doesn't matter. But in the case of Eric Wedge, knows the importance of a defensive shortstop, having the strength up the middle defensively. He's going to save a lot more than he's going to drive in, and Brendan Ryan's in that category.
2-2 the count. Now, he did not win the Gold Glove last year, but a lot of people felt like he should have. Lightens that one foul.
How many times you hear of a great defender, but because his offense isn't that great, that he's not voted? Because remember, it's the managers, the coaches that vote, and it's usually the guy they think about. Well, what has he done? Man, he hurt us, but did he hurt us with the glove? Yeah. Tommy Adza brings up Mark Ellis. You know, probably should have won a Gold Glove or several. Never did, never has.
And it surprises me that that is the case with the people who are voting out, because those are the people you would think would realize, hey, this is not an award about offense. It's got nothing to do with offense.
Rafael Palmeiro was a DH and won it for first base.
That's where I lost a little hope for the Gold Glove on that one. Young has it. And that's out number 1. Ray, there's one more note that I wanted to run past you from our 18-inning marathon game yesterday, and I think you know it as we saw it at the end. There was 510 total pitches thrown in the game.
That's amazing.
255 for the Yankees and 255 for the A's. That's unbelievable.
That is too hard to believe.
The exact same amount of pitches thrown by both teams. Parker started and he was great. He threw 108 of those pitches.
And I guess it just had to end with Nate Fryman's walk-off against Mariano Rivera, because if it had taken another pitch, then that would have been equal number.
It had to end on that pitch. And what a surprise, huh? Rivera faced 2 hitters, 2 broken bat singles, and that's about how you got to beat the guy.
And you know, Seth Smith, who got with him, you know, he said, I'm glad Rivera came in, because at least they know what they're going to get. But usually they don't hit it. And yes, he broke 2 bats, but I think one broken bat will always be remembered by that guy. He said, I've got it, it's authenticated, and it's not going anywhere except with me wherever I go. So we got a hit off of Mariano Rivera. Last one. He'll never give up an open, at least regular season.
Three and 2 to Bay, who has singled and grounded out. He fouls this one just below us. Yankees and the Angels are tied 2-2 in the 4th inning. Bay with a shot. Nice play by Sogard on the short hop. Throws in time to get Bay. Sogard was playing right behind second base almost, and that allowed him to make the play.
Well, there's a great feeling for a hitter. Man, I got a base hit up the middle, and next thing you know, you have to bust it to first base because your second baseman's right over the bat. And Bay came close to beating it out as Sogard had to go to the slide. Popped up quickly and a strong throw, and that's a very, very good play by Eric Sogard. Tommy Malone appreciated it.
So here's Nick Franklin. Franklin has hit into a double play and hit a fly ball to right field. His fly ball to right field came with one out and a runner at third, and it was not deep enough to get that runner home. Outside, 1-1 count with Seager in the on-deck circle. Changeup catches the outside corner. So 2-2 the count to Franklin. And now full count. So 85 pitches for Malone with 2 outs in the 5th inning. So he's thrown a fair amount of pitches. 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. That's lined into the glove of Fryman. Side retired. 3 up, 3 down inning. Bottom of the 5th coming up. It'll be Norris, Reddick, Rosales, 1-0 Seattle. Here's an Oakland A's history with walk-off hits versus Mariano Rivera. We know Nate Fryman. We showed you Marco Scutaro yesterday, the home run off the foul hole. And Miguel Tejada did it back in 2003. 2-run double. So again, if it happens again, it would be good in a couple different ways. It means the A's make the postseason. It means they could win the game.
That's right. Well, you talk to some of the Yankee people, say we're not going to be there. Well, the Yankees are the Yankees. Man, you can't ever count them out.
Not in that division.
Yeah.
Anybody could win that. Norris fouls it back. 1-1 the count. Nice play by Cara. She may be pregnant, but it doesn't matter. She can still make the play. Two and one the count. Norris had a base hit in the second inning. And now he's ahead in the count 3-1. Reddick to follow, and then Rosales. Saunders has given up 4 hits in the game, but no runs yet. And a leadoff walk for the A's.
Well, you'd have to think that Derek Norris is going to have one tremendous game, considering 18 innings yesterday, back in the game tonight, and the fortunate thing. Remember, John Jason got beat up pretty badly. His right leg, lower part of the leg. Remember the ball that hit him kind of in the upper part of the shin. He said it got enough muscle to the side of the shin bone, which probably was very lucky, because we've seen those serious injuries that occurred, foul balls off the legs.
Yeah, John Jaso did not look like he was having a whole lot of fun, but he ended up making a couple important base running plays. Slider down and away. 1-1 to Reddick, who struck out in the second inning. One of 2 strikeouts for Saunders.
That's a good point, because you think when you get hit in the legs, think of guys who are good base stealers and get hit and they walk to first base and then steal on the first one. And Jaso was the type that got hit a lot of times below the belt, below the knees, and every time he had a chance to take the extra base, he did it very aggressively. And then you worry about the pain and the eyes after you get to where you're going.
Two 2-1 to Reddick. Hit hard right at the second baseman. Franklin has it, and that is not a double play, as Reddick, hustling down the line, is able to beat the throw. So he must have been hustling. That ball was hit fairly hard.
Yeah, it looked like, with Ryan getting a nice feed from Franklin, but also watch Derek Norris, see him get down very quickly to the bag and force Ryan to hurry his throw. Yeah, he kind of backed up. Franklin did, and then a high throw. Ryan a nice recovery to make the play, but maybe just the fact that Franklin's throw looped a little bit towards second, but you cannot overlook the great hustle by Josh Reddick.
So Reddick aboard for Adam Rosales, who grounded out to the second baseman in the third inning. Way inside, and it almost hit him.
How did it miss? Good. And you don't want to take one for the team when it's this hard down close to the shins.
Reddick with a pretty good lead at first, and it's a swing and a miss by Rosales. A's did not take batting practice today. No surprise there after the long game yesterday. In fact, they didn't really have to get to the ballpark quite as early as normal.
They did anyway.
They did anyway, it's true. Changeup, and a good one, 1-2.
The off-speed pitch away, and Adam Rosales just see the bat at Exmo, showing the bat coming in, and just missed the baseball. If it had hit, it had been off the end of the bat.
Well, Saunders and Malone similar in their styles. Malone probably throws a few more change-ups than Saunders does. That one grounded slowly. Ryan gets the out at second, and Rosales will be safe at first. So that's out number 2. So Ryan did a good job of charging that ball to get the lead runner.
Now batting second baseman, number 28, Aaron Sogard.
And I had to throw back across his body, and again the pitch outside, Adam trying to pull it. And there's just off the end of the bat with the Exmo showing where the ball hit the bat, and just not very much except the fact that Adam Rosales is able to run out of the box quickly, but Ryan going back across his body to get the lead runner.
First pitch to Sogard is a strike. Sogard grounded out to Morse in the 3rd inning. Shallow right field. Franklin backpedaling and almost a collision, and the ball scoots free, and that's going to allow Rosales to come around and score, and Sogard's going to stop at second.
Wow.
A huge break for the Athletics. Franklin and Bay collided. Either one of them could have caught it, and neither of them did.
Well, and it had to be the outfielder's play. Franklin going out, but if there's no communication, makes it tough on the infielder. But an easy fly ball out. Rosales running with 2 strikes, backpedaling, and boy, just really that could have been a lot more serious than it was. Because as Franklin went out, it kind of got him to the side, but Franklin looked like he had the ball in his glove, and Bay hit him. Does Franklin get it here? And then as Bay comes in, just throws the ball back towards the foul line. Well, it was in Franklin's glove and the left arm of Bay. Great shot of Exmo to see that happen, and only because of 2 outs was Adam Rosales able to run on contact, and that is your basic double RBI. But the A's will take it.
So Sogard gets his 7th RBI. Carl Willis, the pitching coach, is going to come out.
And a smile on his face, because he knows he's very simply going to say, it happens, and there's usually a word that's put in front of it, but you know, just more of a calming effect. But what a great shot in Exmo with the ball in the glove, but Bay was charging in and did not look like there was much, if any, communication. Outfielder charges. If he can catch the ball, the infielder peels off, but evidently there was not any verbal communication because Franklin kept going after the ball.
So here's Chris Young, and the go-ahead run is at second base. So a huge break for the A's.
Sogard started to go to third wide as they stopped. He's already in scoring position, and they didn't recover quickly enough. It might have been a close play at third, might have even gotten him in the 3rd out.
Changeup is outside, and Young, who has had the best swings tonight, he's got a single in the 1st, a double in the 3rd. Pitch is low, and now it's 2-0. I have a feeling Joe Saunders is going to pitch carefully to Young with first base open, and Smith in the on-deck circle, a left-handed hitter.
Seth Smith, the last at bat with Young at second, got a 3-2 slider. So that says a lot about probably what you're saying with Saunders. Not necessarily want to intentionally walk this right-handed hitter. He might now put him on base. Going to make 3 pitches like that. The 4th better be the same. If not, just stand up and put him on. Yeah, see, Saunders himself is the one pointed at first base, and finally Zunino stepped out.
Young will indeed take the walk. the second walk issued by Saunders. He's walked 2, struck out 2.
And essentially this inning started with a leadoff walk.
Left fielder, number 15.
A couple of fielders' choices, but ultimately it was the leadoff walk that got the inning started, even though a couple of ground ball outs before what looked like to be the third out occurred.
So here's Smith. He's hit into a double play and struck out. Saunders kicks the first pitch, is a slider down and away. Pitch number 77 coming up from Saunders. And that slider in for a strike. So back-to-back breaking balls to Smith.
Well, they expect Seth Smith to get out in front and try to pull the sliders from Joe Saunders. They are playing him towards right field, and that was a hanger, but the knees buckle. Not much a hitter can do. So where the shortstop and second baseman are playing. So the big gap on the left side, Seth Smith's been known to go to left field.
It's jammed there and rolls it foul. So now he's behind in the count 1-2.
You talk about the pitcher has to pitch according to how the defense is positioning the hitter. And so far, that's exactly what Saunders is doing with Seth Smith.
Sogard at second, Young at first. And Smith chases a pitch in the dirt, and that will do it. And the A's catch a break, and they get a run. And we are tied at 1 after 5.
Tomorrow, the pregame event will be held in the Eastside Club from 2:15 to 4:15 p.m. Enjoy tastings from over 30 different microbreweries and live music from Bay Area cover band Pop Rocks. Admission is free with a game ticket. Commemorative beer mug and 2 tastings will be available for $10. Additional tastings will be available for purchase. You must be 21 or older to purchase, not a cape, but any of the microbrews. So, a lot of capes here tonight.
Good look. Superhero. Seager to lead it off. Lefty on lefty. Will be followed by Morales and Morse. Top of the 6th of a 1-1 game. So I got the quote of the night in baseball, right? Tigers beat the Twins 4-0. So good night for Detroit. But the quote comes from Jim Leyland.
Oh, it's a good one.
You got because he's awesome. Right? The Tigers are having trouble with their closer situation. They really have had it all year, and they've lost some games late. So Jim Leyland keeps getting asked about switching closers. So somebody finally sent him over the edge about suggestions on who should be his closer or if he should switch closers. Leland said, quote, "It's like everyone telling me I'm bald, but nobody can tell me how to grow hair." It makes perfect sense.
That's right. That's why Jim Leyland, you hope he never retires.
Oh, man.
That's why it's sad about Mariano Rivera as a player and a great closer, but Jim Leyland, I mean, that's classic.
And it makes perfect sense.
Absolutely. Just like
what do you want me to do?
It's
this
like
is
Shooty.
who I got.
That's Shooty. That's
well,
it.
there's only one Shooty Babbitt.
But, they've been talking Porcello from spring training on, about being a closer, but he's a starting pitcher. Valverde has the experience. I mean, you want the experience just so he blows a few saves.
Young over into right center, and he's got it. Seager is retired for out number 1.
Now, Jim Leyland holds nothing back. He's first to compliment an opposing team, player, pitcher, manager, whatever, if they do well. I mean, there's no excuses. He knows he has a good team, probably knows that they should be running away with the division. But baseball is baseball, and he knows exactly, as long as he's been in the game, that it's not an easy game.
First pitch to Kendrys Morales is on the inside corner, first strike.
Yogiism. Yogi would like that quote to put in his book.
Like that one. Yeah. I saw it and I had to read it.
And we're glad you did.
Strike 2 down around the knees. 0-2 to Morales, who has struck out and hit a fly ball to center field. Ball to center field was hit very well, right near the wall.
Well, we have said it before, at least with the pitch count, you start looking at Tommy Milone pitch count. He's pitching better as he has pitched. The first couple of innings he struggled a little bit, but when a pitcher is pitching as well as he is, you just forget about the number on the board on the clicker, how many pitches he's thrown. Which he just made to Kyle Seager to get him to fly out to center field. It's a fastball. Tried to pull it, and just an easy fly ball to center field. Young, of course, has the clicker normally. Seager just, I should have hit the fastball outside the left field. He just hit himself in the head. That's what happens. Get a grand slam to right center.
Good pitch. Morales strikes out. So Milone gets his third strikeout.
It's called changing the eyesight there. A pitch down, and then watch Derek Norris. He wants it up, and that's exactly where it's thrown. Inside, up around the letters, and perfectly thrown by Tommy Milone.
Six in a row retired by Milone. As he faces Michael Morse, who has doubled and scored and walked. And he takes a fastball right down the middle for a strike. Maybe the best pitch he sees in the at-bat.
He hit the first pitch that he saw from Tommy Milone and doubled right center, but after the first at-bat, you got to start making adjustments, and maybe to the point you think you're going to see a certain pitch and you do, then you don't. You kind of get in between. In the case of Morse, he didn't swing at it.
11 home runs for Michael Morse. And this one skied to shallow right center. And Reddick has it. 7 in a row retired by Tommy Milone. We're headed to the bottom of the 6th inning. It's a 1-1 game. California is brought to you by Cache Creek Casino Resort. Red, White, and U Jeep giveaway. Visit cachecreek.com for details. Superhero night at the Coliseum. And there will be fireworks after the game. So a very nice crowd tonight. Just announced at 31,448. 31,448. Posse is part of that group. Right next to the sign that says, Cespedes, will you marry me? I don't think they're related at all.
No.
Right. I'm just saying the signs were next to each other. That's all I'm saying. So one out, and here is Cespedes.
Well, and it's great to hear this walk-up music because that means Cespedes is back.
How about a designated hitter?
Just a couple of games, a tight left hamstring, and he is DH tonight.
So Cespedes 0 for 2 tonight in the DH spot. First pitch is low from Saunders. So the difference in the game, a missed pop-up by the Mariners that allowed the A's to tie it last inning. Yankees and the Angels still tied 2-2 in the 6th inning. Bounced right to third. Nice big hop for Seager. Flips it across, and that's out number 2. So Fryman will hit.
How about a first baseman, number 7, Nate.
So Fryman strides to the plate. He's got a hit tonight, a double in the 2nd inning. Then he grounded out to first in the 4th. Saunders pours a fastball at 89 miles an hour in their first strike. Saunders working quickly, very much like Tommy Malone does. That one hit hard. Ryan, look where he's playing, and look at that play. He's very good, folks. Brendan Ryan, nice play at short, and that's a 3-up, 3-down inning for Joe Saunders.
With you, 10,000 fans will receive a grand bow for Raging Gnome, courtesy Majestic when the A's host the Mariners this Sunday, June 16th. For more information and tickets, call 877-493-BALL. You can visit oaklandathletics.com/tickets.
There he is, Grant Balfour.
Number 28, Raul Ibanez.
Just cruising. We like that right there. That usually means the game has just ended. Lets out the victory yell.
Well, Grant Balfour, and of course we hope he is with the A's beyond this season as a free agent, but the season's going to open in Australia next year. That's right. And it's the, let's see, Dodgers
and the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
Hope they behave themselves.
Chuck Armstrong, president of the Mariners, who first went to Tokyo with the A's a year ago, he said, Oakland A's and Mariners volunteered. We go to Australia and start the season. And
that'd be fun. Yeah. Australia's beautiful.
Yeah, love to see it. Never been there. Hadn't been to Japan.
Quick 0-2 to Ibanez. He'll be followed by Zunino and Saunders. Top of the 7th inning of a pitcher's duel. And that one skied to center. Routine for Chris Young. And he's got it. So Ibanez is retired. So 8 in a row retired by Tommy Milone.
Ryan Cook is warming up for the A's in the bullpen, but bottom line, pitch count, really disregard.
Number 3, Mike Zunino.
Talking to Carl Willis, the pitching coach, the Mariners, and I asked him, I said, because he pitched for the Twins in the '91 World Series, I said, did you know what a pitch count was? He said, no. He said, I was a reliever, but there's time to go 5-6 innings, never even consider looking at the pitch count. But I think he brought up a good point. He said, something we have to deal with, something we have to monitor. The pitch counts, the innings pitched by pitchers. Carl does an excellent job with his Mariners, and the A's facing Saunders tonight, but it's no easy chore the next 2 games with Ian Felix and Iwakuma. But
that's why this game's important.
That's right. And the A's are pitching well, so there's a good matchups. But first and foremost, tonight's game, which deadlocked at 1.
Driven to center. Young going back. Still going back. He's at the wall, and it is gone. Mike Zunino goes dead center field for his first major league home run. I just didn't think he got it enough, especially at night.
At nighttime, and I just wonder if Chris Young thought he had a beat on it, and as he got back to the wall, a lot of times the wall will stop the outfielder as he tries to jump and catch the ball. He's feeling for the wall, and I don't think he can jump higher than that. I just don't think he got back all the way to the wall and jumped straight up. And he's kind of drifting. He looked, and then that's hardly a jump at all. I think he's disappointed that he did not get back to the wall and be able to jump up and rob it.
Yeah, just the vertical wasn't there, and you're right. If he's able to set, it would have been a great play, but he would have had a legitimate shot because it really did not go over the wall by a whole lot.
Exactly, and as he got to the wall and he jumped, it's almost like his feet stayed on the ground as he jumped up. Not saying that it was going to be an easy play.
No,
but
certainly not.
But the fact that outfielders play the wall very well. He looked to see how close he was to the wall and was trying to time his jump. But young man should be able to retrieve his first major league home run. It's just beyond the center field wall.
And it's a big one.
Yeah, very big.
So 2-2 to Saunders, who has grounded out and struck out, and he strikes out again. So that's out number 2.
Saunders is struggling. The A's hope he continues for the weekend, but it's back-to-back strikeouts after a ground ball. And they've been pitching him inside, struck him out on the fastball in his last at bat.
So here's Brendan Ryan, a double and a fly ball to center field. Flares this one foul down the right field line. That's the new guy.
Yeah.
Dan Otero just called up. As Ray mentioned, Okajima was sent down, and Dan Otero, who was pitching outstanding for the Sacramento River Cats, was just brought up, and he's getting loose. So Dan Otero, may see him. One and one to Ryan. Pitch number 113. Jam toward the shortstop Lowry. Quick throw, and Fryman could not dig it out. So Ryan's aboard. They're going to give him an E3.
You can't give a guy an error for a ball bouncing.
I believe the ball was in the dirt.
It was in the dirt. Short hopped. I mean, the ball's in the dirt. Lowry had to back up a little bit, and Ryan running hard, and there's the key. Tried to hurry and did make a hurried throw, but the ball did bounce, and I would hope that would be a change. You don't want to see an error on anybody, but the ball bounces. That's not necessarily an easy play on a first baseman.
So Malone is going to leave 6 2/3 innings. He will not get the win tonight. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. Get your oil change, tune-up, and smog experts. Two-thirds innings. 113 pitches. Well, he pitched well tonight. Gave up a single run in the second, and then the home run to Zunino here in the seventh. So Dan Otero comes in. A lanky right-hander.
I said, did we see in spring training? He says, yeah, I was with the Giants. Remember, he went all across the country. Giants, the Yankees, and back to the A's, and designated, and up at AAA, pitching very well for Sacramento. Closing for the River Cats.
Well, he's a strike thrower is what he is.
He is. And the one thing he said that, you know, being in the bullpen, see the numbers though, 99 earned run average in 23 games. But he basically said a 4-pitch pitcher. People ask, how do you get all 4 pitches ready when you're coming in out of the bullpen? But he's able to do it. But he's got mostly fastballs, sliders, but he also throws a curve and a changeup.
That's right. So, teammate of Nate Fryman in college. A Blue Devil. Good slider, and on 3 pitches, Jason Bay strikes out. So a pretty good Oakland A's debut for Dan Otero. The Mariners with a 2-1 lead. Mike Zunino, his first major league home run. The young catcher gave the Mariners that 2-1 lead in the top of this inning. So he's got a smile on his face, inside probably. Right now he's got to get back to work. His pitcher Joe Saunders is back out there. 86 pitches through 6 innings. He faces Norris, Reddick, and Rosales. First pitch is a breaking ball that snaps in for a strike. As we told you earlier, the Blue Jays beat the Rangers 8-0 in Arlington. So the Rangers are really struggling. They have lost 4 in a row, and they have lost 7 out of their last 9. And Ray, listen to this note. The Rangers have been shut out in 4 of the last 5 games.
No, that's not right. That's not right.
That's unbelievable.
And they only scored 1 run last night, so that would have been the other game. Because they lost 3-1 last night.
Throw to first is wide, and Norris beats it. So Ryan not happy with himself, and the A's have the tying run aboard.
He makes that play so many times, but he had the range to his left and could not corral the ball. Derek Norris runs exceptionally well for a catcher and got it on the snow cone, then tried to flip and made an off-balance throw off line to Morris, but there's the bobble. And then he flipped underhand, and when he does that, that's when he gets the movement and the sinker, and he is upset. He knew it. And by throwing the way he did, he hurried his throw, and as a result, not get enough on it and could not throw it straight, and he's upset.
So that's an error, and here's Reddick. First pitch to Reddick, he bunts towards Saunders, who grabs it, and he missed the tag, and then he flips to first, and they just get Reddick. It's going to go as a sacrifice, but more eventful than most sacrifices. Saunders made a nice play, and then he just missed the tag.
Reddick does a great job. Once he just stopped and then almost got to it. I mean, gave up his body, going down, touching the bag with his right hand. But this is a great play where he hesitated. Momentum of Saunders, barely able to flip it back to Morris at first base. But Saunders had just had his momentum reach back, and at least he thought about going to first base.
Well, he stayed calm is what he did.
Yes, he did. Yeah, that's a great call, because Josh Reddick, boy, he gave his body up to go down to do what he did to try to get to the bag. He was going to get the sacrifice anyway, but wanted even more.
So the tying run at second, and now we got some action. Daniel Farquhar gets up. Ray, I was incorrect on that Ranger note. They have scored a total of 5 runs in their last 4 games. It had nothing to do with shutout, so I stand corrected on that.
They were shut out tonight.
They were shut out tonight, yeah. So 5 runs scored total in their last 4 games. So forget what I said about the shutout. But the point is they're scuffling.
Yeah, they are, and that's surprising for that team, and especially in that park, because they played now what 5 games in their home park.
That's right. Yeah.
During that time, and
you will not see that very often.
The A's hope they don't see it next Monday for 4 games, starting Monday. And that's where they will be.
.92 pitches for Saunders. 1 out here in the 7th inning. Burley was the winning pitcher in that game. He beat Grimm.
Josh,
the Angels have taken a 3-2 lead in the 7th. There's good friend Josh Donaldson. He's in a strange spot, sitting in the dugout. So he had 1 game that he did not start this year. That was in Tampa.
Perino started at third.
That's right.
It's not Dan Marino either.
No, it's not. Andy Perino.
Coco getting a batting glove. Maybe we'll see him. Who knows? But good to see him yesterday. Came in late, got a couple of hits, pinch hitting, almost won the game with an opposite field hit.
That would bounce toward the shortstop Ryan. He goes to his right and then flips it across, and they just get Rosales for out number 2. So staying at second base is Norris.
How about a second baseman, number 28, Eric Sogard.
The Astros beat the White Sox 2-1. The White Sox, some poor defense gave that one away, and it was Chris Sale who went 8 innings, 0 earned runs, and 14 strikeouts, and he took the loss. Swing and a miss by Sogard. Bedard got the win in that game, so Sale is now 5-5. Cannot pitch a whole lot better than that. Oh, 0-1. Tying run at second. Nice block by Zunino.
Zunino going after the ball. Nice job of blocking the ball. The dangerous thing here, though, as he blocked it, watch him take his mask off, doesn't get rid of it. That would be a nice two-base right now. Score the tying run.
1-1 pitch is a fastball that jams Sogard. Get a piece of the umpire, yep. Bill Welke.
I think he got him. Fastball in and got him on the right foot, right shin. Delayed reaction.
Saunders kicks in the 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss, and a pitch out of the strike zone. So he's got the tying run at second, but cannot get him home. We're headed to the 8th inning with the Mariners leading 2-1. Six p.m. as the San Jose Earthquakes travel to Denver to take on the Colorado Rapids. Complete Earthquakes coverage every night on Sportsnet Central and CSNCalifornia.com. The home of Earthquake soccer is Comcast Sportsnet. 8th inning. Starting to cool off, no question about it. Fireworks coming up after the game. Mariners leading 2-1. Franklin to lead it off against Otero. Franklin a switch hitter. He swings around, hit from the left side. So Mike Zunino, the rookie catcher, there he is. Solo home run in the 7th inning. You know who Mike Zunino's godfather is?
Who?
Gary Hughes.
Really?
Longtime scout who
Wow.
is from Northern California, and he spends a lot of time at the ballpark. We see Gary all the time.
Gary
He's
taught
the
him
godfather of Mike Zunino.
Taught him like everything he knows.
Right.
If you don't believe it, ask Gary.
Well, I remember last year on draft day, I just happened to run into Gary down by the dugout. He said, well, keep an eye on the draft. My godson is going to be a very high draft pick. And I said, oh, really? Okay, sure he is. He said, well, I think he's going to go in the top 5. And he did. So I'm sure Gary is watching and very proud of his godson, Mike Zunino, and he should be.
He's a good man.
Oh, Gary's
Now
nice.
batting,
great man.
number 15,
Fun to talk to.
Kyle Seager.
So a leadoff single by Nick Franklin. And now into the heart of the order for the Mariners as they lead 2-1. Seager has walked, hit a fly ball to left, and hit a fly ball to center. Franklin, not a real big lead at first. And there's a strike, 1-1.
I'm surprised that Otero was the first to get the ball tonight. Considering, I think, with Cook warming up, if the A's had tied it, might have been a different story. But young man gets a chance to come straight from Sacramento and with the uniform on. Get in the game.
Well, how about this, Ray? He was 15 for 15 in save opportunities. And here at the big league level, Grant Balfour is 17 for 17. No such thing as a bone save.
That's right.
In AAA and in the big leagues for the A's and their closers.
Not only that, for a closer, he's got a very good delivery to the plate quickly, getting rid of the ball, which was always helpful for a catcher.
Head in the count 1-2 to Seager. Kendrys Morales is in the on-deck circle. And there's another base hit to left field. Seager just kind of reached for it and lofted it into the left. So Franklin and Seager both go the other way for back-to-back hits leading off the 8th inning.
Well, it's good hitting, but as far as the pitches, they're exactly. That time Derek Norris tried to go inside, but the ball leaked outside part of the plate, and Seager just served it out to left field. Can't play shallow enough for those. I say that's why Seager is upset, pounding himself on the head, because similar pitch last time, tried to pull it.
That one hit the other way, and shallow. Smith coming in, and he's going to get there, and he makes the catch. Morales goes after the first pitch.
And there's the old part of the batting order where you get the first 2 guys on, but you have the cleanup hitter coming up and probably doesn't know how to bunt.
Hey, join us tonight on A's Post Game Live for the A-Team. It'll be our special presentation of the broadcasters Ken Korach, Vince Cotroneo, Ray Fosse, and myself. We're going to get together, have an unscripted roundtable discussion about tonight's game. It's only on A's Post Game Live and 95.7 The Game, and it's after the game. So we're getting along a little better now.
As long as that glass is between us.
That's right. It better. We'll put that shade down too. So. Talk about the game. See what else is going on around Major League Baseball. Michael Morris, the hitter. He's ahead of the count 1-0. He's doubled, walked, and hit a fly ball to right field. Inside corner, and it's 1-1. Decent speed with Franklin and Seager on the base pass. It was Morris in that opening 4-game series between these two teams here at the Coliseum. He hit 4 home runs in that series. I think we learned he likes the ball away.
Yeah, and he has 11 on the season in game 68.
They're going to check, and
I hope so.
Adrian Johnson, I think he got it right.
Now this is a kind of a check swing. Why am I going after this pitch? And that's almost, if he makes contact, it might have been a home run. That's strong.
Two-2 pitch. Breaking ball bounced left side. Rosales throws to second for 1. Back to first, but not in time, as Sogard had time to leap out of the way, as it was a hard charging Kyle Seager. And then with Morris not running very well, Sogard still had a shot at him.
I think that's what surprised Sogard, to see that Morris was not close to the bag. But you're right, Seager, because he was not being held at first base, got the big jump, got on top of Sogard very quickly. Rosales had to back up a little bit. That slowed it down a little. But that's a Hal McRae slide there. You go through the bag.
Kind of pop up with your body.
Yeah, and it's dangerous for both the infielder and the runner.
Now batting number 28, Raul Ibanez.
So Franklin now at third, Morris at first, and here's Raul Ibanez. Always seems to be a tough out in spots like this. Goes after the first pitch, fouls it straight back. Angels now leading the Yankees 4-2. That game in the 8th inning. That one runs off the plate. Kansas City Royals stayed hot. They beat the Rays 7-2 in St. Petersburg, beating Matt Moore. Royals have won 9 out of their last 10. So Kansas City now 1 game under the 500 mark. So they're trying to finish off that march to get back to 500.
But they still have the top ERA.
Yeah, they're pitching great. Ibanez takes off the plate, and now the count is 3-1 with Zunino waiting in the on-deck circle.
Ibanez is more of a pull hitter, and of course the same pitches that Franklin and Seager hit to left field. Ibanez is laid off. See him try to get the pull one because Sogard's in right field, second baseman. Yeah, he pulled off. He's looking to pull.
So full count. The runner at first, Morris, will be on the move.
Throw the pitch away, and Raul tried to pull the outside fastball.
And that one fouled at the plate. It bounces high up in the air to Otero.
Big swing straight down, and got the big toe of the right foot.
Three-two pitch is line foul, and that one got a little bit too much of the hit me zone there. All right.
Just fill up the bag.
Nachos and the baseball. Dad, I'll enjoy the baseball after I finish my nachos. There's a shot off of Fryman, and a run's going to come in and score. So the ball trickled away from Fryman, and Franklin comes in to score. Should be a hit for Ibanez, as he hit that ball extremely hard.
Well, there's the difference of not being able to turn the double play. Give an extra chance. The hard slide by Seager keeps the inning going, and Ibanez. And that's with Fryman playing back. They, of course, at 3-2, they were not holding Morse. And that's going to be a single, an RBI.
So Ibanez gets his second hit. That's a big one. And here's Zunino.
Yeah, that's a huge run. A couple of bats left for the A's, but to get another run, of course, you started with the two opposite field singles, and then you get a hitter who, more of a dead pull hitter, is able to get a pitch, hit it hard enough. Fryman couldn't handle it.
Fastball right there for a strike.
Fryman backed up and the ball hooking. Went down, did not know where the ball was. I was hoping he could go behind him, and Sogard could have fielded and thrown Ibanez out at first, maybe.
0-2 pitch, a slider well off the plate. One-two pitch is called the ball. 2-2 the count.
That's the case. If Norris catches, it might have been strike three. Should have been called anyway, regardless of whether the catcher handled it.
Zunino 1 for 2 with the home run. That one is a strike. So Otero gives up a run on 3 hits here in the top of the 8th. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Young's going to lead it off. It's 3-1 Seattle. Local Toyota dealers. Another pitcher's duel here at the Coliseum. Malone and Saunders. Tommy Malone, 6 2/3 innings. He gave up just 2 earned runs. And Joe Saunders, just a touch better, 7 innings, just 1 earned run. And this was how the A's got their only run. It was a defensive mistake, and one is a double. But with the game tied 1-1, 1 out in the 7th, Mike Zunino, his first major league home run, just his second major league hit. And then the Mariners added another run in the 8th inning. So it's 3-7-1 for Seattle, 1-5-1 for the Athletics. That's your game summary, brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. So Joe Saunders is done for the night after 7 very strong innings for the Mariners left-hander. And the new pitcher is Danny Farquhar. Danny Farquhar. He was a member of the A's organization. Yep. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change tune-up and smog experts. So it's one of those guys, Ray, where we saw his name but didn't see him pitch at the big league level, but we saw his name in the minor leagues. He was back and forth in the minor leagues. Farquhar. Jason Bay moves over to left field. Endy Chavez comes in the game in right field, so Raul Ibanez is out. But he got a big hit.
So good.
Farquhar came to the Mariners from the Yankees in the Ichiro Suzuki trade in July of last year. And that one's drilled to left, and that baby is gone. Way out of here. 3-2.
Have a night, Chris Young. Single, double, walk, home run, and Farquhar missed with a curveball. And he's got about a 94-mile-an-hour fastball, but straight. And this is as straight a fastball as you can see right there. And that is a tremendous swing. Four-seam, Exmo, you see the grip, and you see the contact. What a swing by Chris Young. Wow. I'd admire it, too. That was a long one.
So a 3-2 game, and here's Seth Smith. Run number 6 for Young.
I'll have to wonder if the A's, the lefties on the bench, Brandon Moss in particular, is one, Coco Crisp, if he's available. Lefty is starting to warm up in the bullpen. Seth Smith has to be happy that Joe Saunders is out. Double play and a couple of strikeouts. Ball was crushed. Unbelievable.
Pitch is high. So 2-2 to Smith, who has hit into a double play and struck out twice. Strike 3 called on the outside corner. Looks like a little cut fastball,
yeah,
maybe.
Exactly.
So Smith strikes out looking.
Well, just a great swing by Chris Young. And it was not a cheapie. That was home run as soon as he made contact, and just follow the flight. That ball going away to second deck.
I think it did, yeah.
Wow. Don't see a lot of those here.
Lowry takes a fastball first strike.
Farquhar's elevating the pitches enough that you wouldn't be that surprised to see them trap that far.
Good pitch there. Looks like he's, I don't know, Ray, almost a little natural cut, huh?
Yeah.
It was 91.
Plus he slings the ball, which makes it a little difficult to pick up a little at times.
That one's lying toward the gap. On the move is Bay, and he gets there and makes the catch. Well, that pitch was up too, and Lowry hit a bullet.
And it was up, and unfortunately, when a left-hander hits the ball like Lowry did, great idea going opposite field, but when that happens, the ball slices back to the left fielder. Looked like he was heading the gap there, but watches the ball slices in. The outfield covered the ground. Able to catch it and rob him of extra bases.
So Cespedes steps in. A couple of ground outs and a fly out. And a first pitch strike from Farquhar. So Farquhar, nothing else, getting ahead of the hitters. Swing and a miss, and there's that little cut. 90 miles an hour, moving away from Cespedes. Toward the shortstop, Ryan, who gobbles it up. side retired. Chris Young with a home run, his 6th of the year. It was a long one, folks. We're going to look at it again. 9th inning coming up. It's Seattle 3 and the A's 2.
On Wednesday, July the 3rd, this special patriotic theme show presented by GovX.com begins after the A's play the Cubs at O.Co Coliseum. Bring the family and enjoy the show from the outfield grass. On-field capacity is limited. For more information and tickets, go to OaklandAthletics.com/fireworks. Got one tonight. Already talked about July 3rd.
I was just thinking the same thing.
I thought I was going to say tonight, but why would we talk about tonight?
Still time to get here.
Not a lot of tickets left, 31,000 plus, so that's a great crowd tonight.
Sean Doolittle comes in. Doolittle's first pitch to Michael Saunders is a bit inside. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change tune-up and smog expert. So Doolittle sat in the bullpen and watched a full 18 innings yesterday. He had pitched in the first 2 games of that Yankee series, and Bob Melvin just did not want to use him. I don't know if he was going to use him.
It was not. I think we'd have seen a position player probably before Doolittle, and
or maybe Tommy Malone.
That's true.
Not out of the question.
That's right. And of course, it was nice that the A's were able to win, so Malone could stay ready for tonight. But you know, Sean Doolittle could say, "Well, I'm a position player." That's right. He's first baseman. But a pitcher, and he is a great one.
1-2 pitch, and there's that slider. So 2-2 the count. Saunders has grounded out, struck out twice. 0 for 3, the average at 194. Shoots that one foul. And it's low. All right, Tom Wilhelmsen, who was the closer for the Mariners, but he has struggled as of late, and there's some question now of whether he is still the closer. There's nobody warming up.
Sometimes they wait till 1 out, but usually if the closer is going to get up, somebody would be up to start the inning because it could be a quick one. But
it'll be Fryman, Norris, and Reddick, so 2 right-handed hitters and a left-handed hitter.
And you would think
gentleman on the left is Oliver Perez. The gentleman wiping his hat off is Yorvis Medina. Medina's a right-hander. So who knows? Could be a mix and match.
Yeah, well, I would think that Brandon Moss, if it's a right-hander, he's going to come off the bench.
Yeah, and that's Wilhelmsen, and that does not look like a guy who's getting ready to save a game in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Or Giant Sunflower Seeds, don't think so.
That one is hit to right, and that's a base hit. So Saunders hit a slider, and he hung in there. That's a good at-bat.
Time now for the AT&T Universe Rewind. His name is Saunders. This was Joe, and he was Safeco Joe, but he's pitched well tonight. 7 solid innings. Just the miscue in right field that helped the A's score the run. But Joe Saunders had the breaking pitch work that he did. Probably maybe had the benefit of having 3 lefties in the lineup against him tonight. He pitched very effectively, especially with the hard slider. Got the lefties out. O.Co Joe. That boy Delaire.
Unfortunately, he was tonight.
Yes, he was.
Here, Brendan Ryan. First pitch is low. Sacrifice situation for Ryan. 98 pitches for Saunders. He was good. Nothing fancy, just throwing strikes, moving it in and out. Now Saunders the runner at first, even though this is a pretty obvious bunt situation. He's a big guy, about 6'5", but he runs well, and he's a good base stealer. He is 9 for 10 this year.
Looks like he's in the starting blocks at first.
Not close, and it's 2-0. Plus, Saunders stands next to Fryman, and it looks like 2 guys that could be getting ready to go for an offensive rebound. 6'8" and 6'5". In fact, if you're the first base coach, Mike Brumley, I would just stay away from standing next to those 2 guys. Ryan just started to show bunt again before the throw to first.
I think he could show and just let the world know that he's going to bunt. He might as well.
There's that sprinter stance, and Ryan pulls the bat back, but it's called a strike. On deck is Jason Bay. He's a right-handed hitter. After that, it's a switch hitter, Franklin. Bunted in the air. Norris coming back, and he dives, and he caught it. Oh, what a play by Darren Norris. Wow. Gotta find it, gotta get rid of the mask. Run with your shin guards on.
And remember, his momentum is going out towards the front, expecting to bunt there. So when the bunt's behind him, he takes off, throws his mask, gets his body out, dives, comes up ready to throw, the ball popping out of his glove in case Saunders took off, and just let the body go after it. What a tremendous play. And then to be able to react quickly enough to realize the runner's at first. He could be thinking about tagging, and the ball popped out, got back in his hand, ready to throw. And if Saunders had taken off, he'd probably thrown him out. What a tremendous play. And remember, he caught 18 innings in a 5-hour, 35-minute game yesterday.
So here's Jason Bay.
It's not an easy play. Again, you have to remember in a bunt situation, the catcher is trying to think about going out in front of the plate to handle a bunt, maybe to try to get the lead runner. So the momentum's going forward, and he has to reverse track.
The 1-0 to Bay, who singled in the very first inning. That is the lefty Oliver Perez, who now gets up. Pop-up foul. Well above us into the upper deck. Here's the Comcast Sportsnet value deck right above us.
Did you get a cape tonight?
Not yet. Okay. But when I do, I'm going to put it on.
For the throwback 69 throwback, right? 1969? Well, the #1 cape man, Banjo Man, was here tonight.
Was he?
Yeah, he's got his cape from 40 years ago in the 70s. He was playing earlier.
4 years ago.
40.
Oh, 40, 40, 40, 40, yeah, 40.
Easy 94 from Sean Doolittle. Painted the outside corner.
Two pitch swing and a miss. No chance. 2 outs here in the top of the ninth.
We don't know if Sean Doolittle can do that when he wants to, but his success, since he's been a pitcher, is this location. Fastball upstairs at about 95, and there's not really that many people who can catch up to a fastball thrown at that elevation and with that velocity.
So here's Nick Franklin, young second baseman, who's 1 for 4. First pitch is a fastball inside. Angels have added a run in the bottom of the 8th inning. They lead the Yankees 5-2. Still batting. For a strike. So that was the 20th pitch by Doolittle here tonight. Right back up the middle into center field for a base hit. Saunders stops at second, so Nick Franklin, the rookie, is 2 for 5.
Remember, he was robbed in the first inning, a ball over the mound that turned into a double play. Good approach by the young man, especially with a good fastball from Sean Doolittle. The fact that it was down right over the mound. Watch as Doolittle falls off and where the ball is, right over where he was positioned.
So Seager steps in. And the first pitch is off the plate. Seager walked in the first. Fly ball to left in the 3rd. Fly ball to center in the 6th. And then he had a base hit in the 8th. Just flipped one to left field in the 8th inning. He may try to do that here against Doolittle.
That'd be a pretty good approach. Instead of trying to pull the ball, Lowry playing up the middle, so there is the hole on the left side.
That one called a strike. Saunders at second. Franklin at first. Plenty of speed for the Mariners on the base pass. But their closer Perez, or at least tonight, Oliver Perez, warming up in the bullpen. Popped up. Shallow left. Lowry out. Smith in. Smith has it, side retired. So Doolittle gets out of the jam. The Mariners strand 2. Bottom of the 9th coming up. A's down by 1.
Chestnut, California is brought to you by Xfinity, home of the most live sports, and by Toyota. Do the math and save at your local Toyota dealer.
Another tight ball game, entertaining game. The Mariners leading the A's 3-2. It's the bottom of the 9th inning. And Nate Fryman steps in against the left-hander Oliver Perez. So Perez, for tonight anyways, is the closer. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. Your oil change, tune-up, and smog experts. Very fine numbers for Oliver Perez this year. Fastball foul back. So the numbers are good, but he does not have a save, so he has not pitched in the 9th inning a whole lot.
Well, he's basically a 2-pitch pitcher, a 3 with a fastball, sinker, slider, fastball, slider. 2 4-seam fastball then, and then that little funky delivery.
Popped up. Foul territory. Morris and Zunino, and Morris, the first baseman, makes the catch for out number 1. So with Wilhelmsen struggling as of late, it's Perez tonight. And now he faces Derek Norris with Reddick in the on-deck circle. A's have won 11 consecutive games at home. Third longest home win streak in Oakland A's history. Here's Norris. Perez, the first pitch, a slider, and it's a good one for a strike.
You know, the one thing bringing Perez in, whether by design or not, it basically keeps Brandon Moss on the bench. Because he's a lefty. If the righty comes in, then Bob Melvin can go, at least if he wanted to, in Fryman's case, pinch hit Moss, which he normally would. And you combine that with the struggles of Wilhelmsen, and, you know, at this point, worked out. He got Fryman to pop up to foul territory.
Perez has allowed a couple of home runs this year in 23 innings. And that one way inside.
Well, 3 home runs by Derek Norris. First coming against this guy in Seattle is a bullet to left center. The fastball grooved in the left center. Crushed it. Like to get a similar fastball, hit it in the same direction, this game would be tied. He probably remembers exactly what Norris did.
2-1 pitch, slider, strike 2 call. Norris has singled, walked, and reached on an error, so he's been on base all 3 times.
It's a little bit of a slurve.
Two pitch fastball, check swing, no swing by Norris, so it's a full count.
Unfortunately, the bat hit didn't go far enough. Second strike was a slider. Probably knows he had a fastball off of it for a home run in Seattle. Pitchers don't forget.
Slider on 3-2, and Norris fouls it back.
And I think Derek Norris was looking for it. He's smart enough to know that pitchers do remember home runs, or at least home runs they give up on certain pitches.
3-2. Good swing on a fastball, 93 miles an hour, and Norris fouled it straight back.
Yeah, really, I don't think the A's, after playing 18 yesterday, would mind going extra innings again today.
Oh,
because right now,
none of us would.
Right now, they're down a run, so to take one or get one, and at least they'd know they had tied it. But that run is big right now. The extra run that Raul Bañez drove in with a hard base hit to first base.
3-2, a fastball, swing and a miss. He struck him out. Ball was out of the strike zone, but Norris could not hold up, so that's out number 2.
The catcher right down the middle with the target and just off the plate. Clearly out of the strike zone, but as a hitter, you're looking 3-2. You're looking to try to do something special, and it didn't happen. And there.
So here's Reddick, 2 outs, nobody aboard. If Reddick can get on, Rosales will hit. And Perez, not an easy at bat if you're a left-handed hitter. Really comes down 3/4.
And really, why would he throw him a first pitch fastball? That's why he threw him a slider.
And it probably won't be the last slider he throws in this at bat.
Exactly.
One and one to Reddick, who is 0 for 2 with a sacrifice. He struck out and reached on a fielder's choice. Little looper, base hit right field. He went with a fastball, and Reddick pulled the hands in, and the A's are still alive here in the bottom of the 9th. They absolutely never go quiet.
Yeah. Left the fastball up. A little surprised they even threw a fastball. Mislocation with the inside. And Josh Reddick brought the hands in. That's a big hit. Huge hit for Josh Reddick, especially against the tough lefty. Why he did the same with the sliders is beyond me.
So here's Adam Rosales. First pitch is a strike down around the knees, a low strike.
And a quick pitch in case Reddick was thinking about running.
11 last at-bat wins. Tied for the most in the American League for the A's, and 5 walk-off wins. Slider down and in.
Coco Crisp is getting a bat.
Sogard's spot is next.
John Jaso's always holding a bat.
One pitch. Little pop-up right field. Endy Chavez is there, and that's the ball game. So Oliver Perez does his job. He gets the save. Joe Saunders gets his 5th win, and the Seattle Mariners come to the Coliseum, and they win the first game of this series by a final score of 3-2. So Saunders the win and Malone the loss. You've been watching Oakland A's baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California. Don't go away. A's postgame live with Brody Brazil and Shooty Babbitt starts right now.